What's up, guys? Welcome back to the Impact Over Income show. We have an amazing guest today with us who goes by the name Monica Jonsson. She's a leadership coach, she's a corporate and executive coach, helping other people in the corporate world, live a fulfilling life in the corporate world, having proper leadership procedures in place to really motivate their teams, their employees, and just have what she calls the 21st century leadership style of training and approach to employees and people that are really under you basically. So I would like to welcome you, Monica. How are you doing, Monica?
Thank you. Thank you so much. And thank you for that introduction. I'm doing well, thank you. It's a
Awesome.
pleasure to be on your show.
Awesome. So I, just to make sure we just proceed as much as possible because I know that you have a lot of things going on. I just wanted to I just wanted you to just like kind of share, your backstory with my audience. How you got started, as a coach, and kind of like your journey leading up to where you are right now.
Yeah, okay. So I come from the corporate world. So I started my career in the telecom sector. I'm Swedish, and so I started there. And then I had always had this desire to go and work in Hong Kong. So in terms of with my corporate career, I went to Hong Kong. I worked there for 6 years,
Wow.
and really, found that I was really thriving in this international environment, but also extremely interested in sort of leadership, people management, and a lot of emphasis on that. So leadership was always something that was very important for me, and certainly when I was leading others. And I then got headhunted to come to Luxembourg, where I'm living today.
Okay.
So I came here with my telecom corporate career, um, did a couple of different jobs, and but very much have been a generalist in my corporate career. So I've done a lot of different things, which was very useful then when I decided to shift completely and become a coach. So I left corporate world for all kinds of reasons, because I just wanted to do something else. I felt there was just too much emphasis on profit, and I thought that there was too little emphasis on the people aspect.
Mm.
So I left to figure out what I wanted to do, and I really stumbled across coaching. And I stumbled across coaching while I was in London for a short visit, and I really fell in love with the concept and what coaching can do and what it offers, and how it really is about working alongside someone, helping them to succeed and be the best version of themselves. And so there was no coaching going on in Luxembourg at that time. This is 2003. So I actually set up Luxembourg's first coaching company back in 2003,
Wow.
and really decided to focus on corporate coaching. So my mission within that has really been, how can we make the corporate world a more human and a kinder place, right? Where there is much more emphasis around people. And so I'm working predominantly with very senior executives, and I've had quite almost 20-year journey now with
Wow.
this.
Well, that's amazing because I noticed something about working in the corporate world. Like for example, where I come from, people are treated like animals. They don't care about your health, your mental, your mental state. All they just want you to do is just come to work and just keep working and working and working and working. And that's one of the reasons
Yeah,
why that's one of the reasons why I'm on my own right now, because I cannot be in that kind of like creative space when I'm working for someone else in a 9 to 5 job.
yeah,
It's just dreadful just getting to work. It's like, how man, I have to go to work because the work I was doing before, I literally have to wake up like 4 a.m. every single day
yeah,
because of the
yeah.
distance of my working place from my house. So
Hmm.
so having that human, connection with people, really listening to people, because this is something I actually learned from Gary Vee. He said, anybody can come to meet him in his office, even though he's the CEO of his company, just to have conversations with him. Maybe there's something that they don't really like about the company that they feel there could be improvement. He's always looking to innovate, listen to his employees, because that's the way you can retain people
Hmm.
in the organization, and that's the way
Yes.
people can really be more productive because they know that they're being heard, listened to.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And that's why I've been talking a lot about in the work that I do. I've been talking a lot about this shift When I'm talking about, we've left the 20th century, we've come into the 21st century, and that has also brought with it a real paradigm shift of what does that mean? And so we've really moved from having, purely transactional relationships with our employees to our employees really wanting more than that. People want to work for human-oriented organization where they feel valued and recognized and are not just a number that we hire and then work really hard and then we kick them out when we don't need them anymore. And so because this is changing and leaders have been slow to understand this change, we are now facing this global, what they call the great resignation, right? And so there's a lot of pressure now on leaders in the way that they lead, and these company cultures are really needing to transform themselves. So it's a very interesting journey now. And of course, the pandemic has really accelerated where people have really been able to take a step back, working remotely, and think about, hang on a second, what do I really want? Do I really want to go back to the way things were before? No, I think, I want to see a change happening. So this is what I write about. For example, you were mentioning, the book that I've written, and I'm really writing and addressing this shift that we see now in the corporate world.
Wow, and that is so true, because most times, if like the employees of organizations are not really taken seriously, there's always what we call a very high turnover rate, because most of them end up resigning from that job, and because it takes a lot of time, a lot of resources to onboard people into the company. But if those people don't spend up to 6 months in that company and they end up leaving because of one issue or the other, they're going to spend more money and waste more time and more resources, because you're not treating those people very, very well, and they will end up with your competitors. And then something you said about being human, because even in sales, for example, the way businesses are done these days is based on human relationships. Like the way people did businesses 20 years ago is not the way they are doing it now. Because sometimes in the sales world, because I'm sure you're also in the sales world, you can just do some cold call, say something very good to trick the person might end up buying from you. But now, people need some level of connection and trust with you. That's the reason why we have social media today, to have that human to human conversation, because we're not here to just make a sale from that person. We're here to build that long-term relationship, so that if even after the sale, when you guys see yourself outside, the person will still want to have a coffee with you. The person wants to go out with you, have a drink with you, have a chat with you, because that relationship is there. That relationship has been established. So that's the reason why we must focus on human connections, moving forward, both in the business space, in the corporate space, and so on and so forth.
Well, you're so right about that, Joshua, right? And this is what I so often quote that as an example, because, we've always understood how incredibly important it is to build strong relationships with our clients. We've always understood that. And why is it so important to build great relationships with clients? Well, because when something goes wrong, our systems might go wrong, the way we delivered our service might go wrong. When something goes wrong, if we have a strong relationship with the client, it's so much more easier to tackle that problem, right? And make sure that we don't lose that client, because it is all about that human interaction. I always say we understand this when it comes to the external clients that we have. Why don't we understand that when it comes to our employees? It's actually the same thing, right? Because when we have a company, who are we without our people? We need to treat them with respect and make them feel recognized and valued, so that they can perform at their best and be motivated and want to stay, and also have that loyalty towards the company. And somehow there's been a disconnect when it comes to the way we treat our employees. And that's very interesting, right?
Yes, very, very, very interesting. Wow. That's very, very profound. So I just wanted to ask another question. What do you feel is the duty? Because I know there are a lot of leadership coaches out there. What do you feel is the duty of a leadership coach, so that people that are watching can really understand what being a leadership coach entails from your own perspective?
hmm So I wouldn't only qualify myself as a leadership coach.
Okay.
I do think that leadership is the most important aspect in an organization. But in order to really be able to rise up, I think that there's a lot of things included in that. So I will coach for effective communication as well. I will coach for stakeholder management. I will coach for personal efficiency and prioritization. So it's really all these soft skills that are in the executive's agenda. But there is no, but if you want to look at leadership specifically, what I think is so incredibly interesting with leadership and all the soft skills is that there is no one way. There is no one way, right? There is no magic formula to great leadership. So when you are working with an individual, you really have to work with that individual in terms of who is this person I'm now coaching? What is that person's mandate? What is this organization that this person is working in? What's that corporate culture like? What is their vision? What do they want to achieve? And so every coaching encounter, therefore, becomes extremely personalized, right? So that you can really help that person excel in their environment and help them get closer and get to where they feel that they need to be in their leadership role, for example, right? And as for me personally, and in being a coach, I think it's just such a phenomenal vehicle in being a force for good. Whether you are a corporate coach, whether you're a life coach, whether you're a young adolescent coach, or
Business
wherever you're
coach.
coaching, yeah, right.
Wow.
It's an opportunity to be a force for good, right?
So basically, there's no one size fits all approach to like your coaching.
No, there really isn't, and that's why I think training is extremely important, right? But the difference between training and coaching for me is very much like when you go into a coaching session, you never really know what to expect. But when you go in to train someone, you have your curriculum with you, right? And you're training them off the curriculum. First, we're going to cover this, then we're going to cover this, then we're going to. In a coaching scenario, you can't do that because you're always following the client somehow. And you're needing to adapt according to the client, according to their personality type, according to what they're seeking to achieve, and you can plant some seeds and you can point out certain things to them, but it's always the client that leads.
Oh, wow. That's the first time I'm hearing this. I've never heard
And
this
so
before.
it never gets boring.
Wow.
Right? Because you never really know what to expect.
Because I was thinking like coaching, there's always like a framework that the client has to go through. Like, let's say, for example,
Yeah.
you've been able to get, let's say I'm a business coach, for example, I taught these clients how to maybe get more clients for their business because I believe
Right.
that's, so as a business coach, in my mind, I believe like, okay, this is the same framework that will definitely work for this client as well. Although I see that, sometimes it's for some people, like it differs. For some people, they have a framework, but it's just that the framework is still personalized, even though it doesn't seem personalized because you're still doing like one-on-one coaching sessions, although there's still similar framework that you still follow that every other client follows, but you are kind of connecting to the person based on what the person is experiencing right now at the moment.
Yeah. No, you're absolutely right. There is absolutely a coaching framework. Okay. There is an approach, and then there's a lot of flexibility within the framework and approach because you need to take that human being into account.
Yes.
and according to how they are and how they're wired and how they will best respond and how they best want to move forward. So I'm a huge proponent of, if somebody wants to become a coach, they should absolutely get certified and accredited in coaching.
Why do you
really understand what coaching is. Well, because today the profession is not regulated. And that means that anyone can go out today and say, look, I'm a coach. But I think before selling your services as a professional coach, I think you owe it to your client to also get educated in that, to get certified, so that you really understand what is coaching. What is the framework?
Wow.
What is the mandate?
Guys, I hope you are taking notes.
Like you wouldn't give your taxes to someone who wasn't qualified in taking care of your finances, would you?
Never.
No. And so of course we all want, when we hire the services of someone, we want to know that we're hiring someone who is qualified to perform that service. And coaching is no different for me. I feel very strongly about that.
Because I feel like there's a misconception out there that some people say you don't need to be certified to be a coach. Because there are some people, they might, based on the experience they've had, you might just be like, oh, I experienced this in my life, and I believe people are experiencing the same thing. So I just want to be a coach to help people and just on that similar journey. While that is not bad, it's always good to seek for like more knowledge from people that are like way ahead of you. Just to, because some people are very good in the marketing and sales aspect of things, but when it comes to being, exceptional at coaching, they're not really that exceptional at coaching.
Yeah.
So that's something that you need to really learn. Wow, I'm learning a lot right now. Guys, please take notes. Monica is dropping some bombs here. Awesome. So I wanted to proceed to my next question. What are some of the people that you look up to as a corporate coach yourself? What are some like your role models that you look up to?
Role model as corporate coaches?
Yes.
I've been very fortunate to train under some great coaches. I'm not sure if they are that famous, and I know that some of the people I've trained with have now gone into retirement. I don't think so much about, I haven't given that so much thought. I've given more thought to people who I think like are outstanding leaders. Okay. I'm a keen observer sort of others, and these are often people just around us that you just observe and that you just say, wow, it's just extraordinary. I think now Europe is in a war right now, very unexpectedly. Someone like President Zelensky has absolutely impressed upon me what an incredible leadership that the president of Ukraine is demonstrating. That's really amazing, right? People like Barack Obama, and whereas we might not always agree, maybe with all of their policies, but people that just demonstrate outstanding leadership. And what is that? Well, that's the ultimate respect of all human beings, right? And just being very respectful and having that human touch. Ultimately, that seems to be what really impresses us and inspires us. Because in the end, we're all wired for belonging. We're all wired for connection. To your point earlier, right, Joshua? We're all wired for that. And so to extend kindness and respect to others just goes such a long way.
Because we as humans like being part of something that is bigger than us.
Yeah, for sure. So we need to create, corporate or business environments where people can feel that, where people can experience that sense of belonging. Because when they do, boy, will they perform for you, right?
Wow. Because this thing is just bringing so many ideas to me, because that's one of the reasons why I don't even know this entrepreneur is very famous in the marketing space. I don't even know his name is Russell Brunson. So he's the founder of ClickFunnels.
What's his name?
Russell Brunson.
Okay, no.
Okay, so he's in the marketing space. We as marketers and salespeople, we know the guy. So he talks about having a cult-like following, because he said, if you really want to make a real impact in the world, you need to sell an idea to people on why they should have, or why they should follow your vision.
Yes.
So for example, you want to build a community, like let's say, like when you see companies like Apple, for example. Apple is more than the phone. They have a community, because it was Steve Jobs that sell the idea that we are part of something bigger, making a great change in the tech space. And it brought people to follow him on that vision that he had. So people felt like they were part of
Mhm.
something bigger than the phone itself. That's the reason why you see that
Mhm.
people will always patronize Apple all the time, even though their product might
Mhm.
not be that exceptional. But because of
Mhm.
the influence Steve Jobs had on those people, that's the reason why they follow what he's doing.
Mhm. Yeah, creating that community, right? Creating
Yes.
that sense of being part of something. And then
Yes.
to your point, it's about, so either selling people something, but I always like to say, it's about inspiring. Today's
Mm.
leaders need to inspire
Fire.
followers.
Mm.
You cannot just tell people to follow you today. That was possible when I grew up in corporate world.
Mm.
But today you actually need to inspire people to want to follow you.
Mm.
And if they don't want to follow you, then they won't, right?
Mm.
They will leave.
Because there was something you said on one of your posts. I don't know if it's one of your articles. You said something like, "You're not a leader if you don't have anybody following you." Can
Yeah,
you can you
yeah,
elaborate? Can you elaborate on that?
yeah. So it's to my point, sort of, you need to be inspiring. You need to inspire people to want to follow you, because if you cannot be a leader if nobody wants to follow you, right? Who are you going to lead then?
Crickets.
If you look behind and no one is following you, well, then you're just taking a walk. And I think that's one of the quotes you are referring to that I had put in my article.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah.
Wow.
And that's very telling, right? That's very telling in today's leadership. And so now we are having a great resignation. We are having employee engagement indexes are very, very low. And that's because people are not feeling engaged, they're not feeling inspired. And that's a problem. And so leaders really need to look inside of themselves and ask themselves, well, what is required from me as a leader now? What does it mean to be inspiring? What does it mean to have a vision? And is my vision compelling? Have I even communicated my vision to the people that are working with me? Do they understand where we're going? Is that relevant to them? There's a lot to consider, right?
Yes. Sure. Because even as a leader, if you don't have people that are under you that are following the same vision or inspired by you, sometimes it can be very stressful to you as a leader. It can lead to anxiety, depression, burnout. Normally we see that happening to the employees when they don't have proper leadership in place, but it can also happen to the leader as well. If
Yeah,
people are just going the opposite direction of where you want them to be, it can be very, very stressful as a leader too as well.
yeah, yeah. Then the leader really needs to step back and do some serious self-reflection.
That's amazing, man. Wow, wow, wow. Light bulb moments.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome. Thank you so much for sharing that. So let me just ask, I just have about two more questions to go. What is your typical like daily routine like? Sure, some of my audience would like to see how
My
you.
daily routine,
Yes.
like, okay, so I think when you do a job like this, because I'm so fortunate to really have a steady stream of business, and so I work quite a lot. And so when you're in this type of business where you're giving a lot all the time because you're sitting in these one-to-one coaching sessions or you're doing team coaching and so on, so you're giving also a lot of yourself. It's incredibly important to also take care of yourself, to be able to be the best version you can be for others. And so I'm very mindful to get my exercise in. So I wake up quite early in the morning,
What time?
and I try to wake up a little bit before 6,
Okay.
and then I work out for like an hour. So
Wow.
I either do yoga, I do some meditation, I do some yoga, and then like 3 times a week I also do kickboxing for my
Wow.
cardio.
Wow. I didn't see
Yeah,
that
so
coming.
it's important to stay in shape, right?
Yeah.
So that's important, and it's important to watch what you eat, and just try to get outside, get some fresh air, and sleep is incredibly important. So I
Very
try to
important.
get 8 hours of sleep every night, because I personally really need 8 hours to be on my best game. So that's kind of what I do. So I try to get my exercise in the first thing in the morning, and then I typically have something around 5 to 6 clients a day,
Wow.
where every client session is usually an hour and a half.
Is that
So
virtual? Is that
that's quite a lot.
so? Are most of your clients, is it like in person, or most of your clients are virtual?
So pre-COVID, everything was in person, up to sort of 95% was in person. Then of
Wow.
course COVID came, everything got done virtually. And then now it's like 30% in person and 70% virtually. So I think I'm still, we'll still be going more to in person. But here in Luxembourg, where I live and work, the majority of companies still don't allow external visitors to come in yet. So
Wow. That means you guys still have like COVID restrictions going on there.
yeah, we've had a lot of COVID restriction, but the great thing is that we can also meet like this. So
Yes,
that's a good thing.
that's good. Yes. What do you prefer? Do you personally you prefer doing it virtually than having to drive to the place in person?
I love the in-person meetings, I really
Yes.
do. But I, of course, being able now to also have virtual meetings from time to time gives us all the opportunity to have a better life balance. And so I really think we are definitely going to move into a world that's going to be hybrid.
Mm,
I'm very convinced about that.
makes sense. That makes a lot of sense. Okay, cool. So let me see if I have any other questions. Yeah, I don't think I have any other questions. So this like the virtual stuff that you do now, do you kind of put, is it just Zoom calls, or they're also part of like a community, like maybe like a Facebook group, maybe if you have any questions or anything like that? Is it just on Zoom calls?
I'm sorry, Joshua, I didn't understand the question.
I said, since you said part of your client you do virtual, because of the
Yeah,
restrictions right here. So
yeah.
is it more like in a phase? Is it kind of, do you do like group coaching, or is it just one-on-one only that
Yeah.
you do?
So virtually, I only do one-on-one. I would not do group coaching nor team coaching virtually. I will only do that one-on-one, or no, in person. In person. Yeah.
Okay, awesome. So yeah, I don't think you have any other questions right now. Do you have any other thing you'd like to just shed more light on as we just wrap up? Anything you'd like to share with
No,
my audience, like just to close or
I
wrap up?
I I think we've covered a lot of things. I've got to say that I think we've had some trying times now the last couple of years. We have a looming climate challenge, right? Which I think worries all of us. It's on all of our minds. We've just starting to come out of this pandemic, and now in Europe we have a war on our hands. I think if anything, we need to really demonstrate our humanity, our kindness, our generosity, and our respect to one another, and really help each other, through these very challenging times. I think kindness is so understated, and I think, we all need to make an effort and pull together to make this world a better place.
That's very
That
profound.
those would be my last words, I think.
Awesome. So, man, guys, you're listening. Be kind to people. It's because of this crisis that is happening in Ukraine, and between Ukraine and Russia really has really showed how kindness is very important, because a lot of people are donating to the citizens of Ukraine, just to help them with feeding and things that really help them put themselves together, because this war is really, that destroyed a lot of lives. People have lost a lot of loved ones. So we just have to be willing to help each other, regardless of race, regardless of
Mhm.
color, regardless of the
Yeah,
culture, or ethnic
yeah,
background. So because we are all
yeah.
humans, and we have to see ourselves
Well,
as humans.
there is only one race, and that's the human
Human
race,
race, yes,
right?
yes, for sure.
Yeah, we need to remember that.
We need to
So
definitely.
Joshua, thank you so much for having
Yeah,
me on your show. It's truly been a pleasure. Thank you so much.
you're welcome. So how can my audience reach out to you? They would like to get your services, your corporate coaching
So
services.
so so I would love anyone to connect with me on LinkedIn. So they can
Okay.
absolutely connect with me on LinkedIn, follow me on LinkedIn. I do post quite regularly, and Joshua, as you know, I'm posting a lot of things that are related to making this world a better place and trying to continue to build that awareness, right?
Yes.
I think that's important. So that's the best place to connect with me is on LinkedIn.
Awesome. So guys, I'm going to be putting the details on the description of this video so you guys can reach across to Monica in case you have any questions or anything that you'd like her to help you out with. And thank you so much,
Absolutely.
Monica, for your time. I truly appreciate it. You shared so many valuable insights in today's video, and I know my audience are going to be able to get some ideas and implement what you've really taught us today.
Okay.
So I wish
Thank
you,
you.
yeah, I wish you a blessed day today.
You too. You too. All right. Take
Bye.
care.
Yeah, you too.
Bye.